So we have arrived to our last lecture of this seminar. We saw the yoga techniques that lead to clear mind. We saw how we use the mind for investigation and how easy we can get the viveka kyati, the knowledge that shows us the difference between us and all the other temporary and changing phenomena. And now we have to talk a little bit more about action and the freedom that we get in action when we put this knowledge into practice, because one thing is to have the knowledge and another thing is to use it, to live according to this. And as I already said, knowledge without putting it into practice is not very valuable. So we have to talk a little bit more about the action. Life is eventually a collection of situations that each situation we can view it as if it needs a solution or needs something to be done, needs action. Life is based on action. So if I want a cup of coffee, this is a situation that needs a solution in the form of cup of coffee. And then there is a set of actions that I can take that will result in coffee, hopefully. And there is a set of actions I can take that will lead me away from coffee. So we all know, most of us know, what are the actions necessary to make a cup of coffee. But this is a simple situation. But life is full of these. Either they are more simple, like making a cup of coffee, or a little bit more complicated, like there is a project that I have to solve, or I have an issue in my relationship that needs to be solved. But every moment needs some action in order to develop, in order to eventually be useful, or to get us what we want. So yoga views life like this, only like a set, a collection of situations that we have to deal with. And what it wants to teach us is to act in a useful way in every situation. And what will be the useful way to act in every situation? It's according to the situation itself. So for example, if I want to make a cup of coffee and I'm in this mansion, then this is a specific moment for it's a specific situation. So then I have to do what is useful for a cup of coffee in this place. To go to the kitchen, to find the coffee, to do whatever is needed. But if I am in the middle of nature and I want a cup of coffee, the situation is different. Then maybe a different set of actions are needed. And then if I'm in the middle of a city, then it's another situation. It's the same desire for a cup of coffee, but again, completely different set of actions that are necessary to take. So when yoga talks about what to do, how to act in the world, it never talks about rules or moral or things like this. But it talks about the ability to see the situation and understand what is useful for the situation, how in this situation I can manage. And then life is something very flexible. Life is something that is happening in every moment. We don't need to go around full with ideas of how things should be done. It is better if we are able in every moment to look what there is and then understand what should be done here in this situation. To understand the idea? And then you will see when you come like this to situations how much more you are connected to life. How better you are connected to what is happening now. There are no decisions that I needed to take yesterday about now. Because now maybe whatever I was thinking about yesterday, now is different because it's raining and I was planning to study outside. So what? Then I look at the moment and I say, okay, so what will be useful for the teaching? If I cannot teach outside because it's raining, I will find a dry place to teach in. So, to be in the present, to look at the situation, to know what is needed, what do we need? What will help us? Sorry?
Be aware.
Yofi, very good. Yofi. Yofi is wonderful. Yes, so very good. we need to be aware. We need to be able to have a clear mind, to see what there is, not to come with all of our ideas of yesterday, to be with a clear mind, with awareness in the present moment, and then to think what is the purpose of this moment. The purpose was to learn, to study, and then what will be useful to get this, to fulfill this purpose. It will be useful to go to a dry place. So when we practice the yoga techniques, we develop the ability to be with a clear mind. So we develop the ability to see every situation. And when we do the samyama, the investigation, and we become more familiar with our conscious element, then we are more able to, in every moment, be conscious. So we have already developed some tools that we need to be able to act in any moment, in any situation. But there is another very important thing, knowledge that is necessary for us. And it is a little bit, or quite a lot, opposite to what we have been taught. We have to understand that what we feel about a situation, what we feel in a current situation, in a specific moment, has no connection at all to the situation in the present. Whatever we feel in a given moment is only connected to our past. It says nothing about the present. It says nothing about the present moment, nothing about the place we are in, nothing about the people that we are with, nothing about what is happening. And we are very used, many of us, to decide what to do according to what we feel. But for yoga, when we decide what to do according to what we feel, we actually decide according to the past. Because what we feel in the present moment depends on the past. In a moment I'm going to show how exactly. And then it says, as long as you decide in a present moment to do what you feel, to do according to what you feel, then you actually depend on the past. And if you depend on the past, you are not free. You are not acting freely. You are acting depending on your past. And it wants to teach us to feel, because we already saw before that we can feel everything. So it will teach us to feel everything. I can feel happy, upset, anger, fear, everything in the situation. But this doesn't have to guide my actions in the present moment. What will guide my actions in the present moment is what is useful for the situation, is to look at the situation, remember the purpose of the situation, and then find the most suitable actions. How is our emotions are a result of the past? I will give a few examples. Imagine a situation where a woman, two women are given flowers for their birthday. Okay, two women are given flowers. One man, there is one man, he gives flowers. One woman, she is very happy with the flowers on her birthday, and she says, I'm so in love with this guy, I want to marry him. The other person, given the same man, the same flowers, say, oh, this is a horrible person, I really think I should break up with him. Is it possible? Yeah, it's the same situation, the same guy giving the same flowers. How can it be that we get completely two different feelings, two different reactions, and two different decisions of what to do? How can it be? How is it that one woman is very happy and the other woman is very upset? Why?
Depends on what they lived through in the past.
Okay, explain.
If the guy was an asshole before and then brought flowers, for example.
For example, very good. What else can be?
Maybe the woman loves flowers and she thought that the man gave him dead flowers.
No, the flowers were okay. But maybe the other woman doesn't like flowers. Maybe the other woman thinks that to pick flowers is murder. Yeah. So, one woman has the knowledge from her past experiences that to bring flowers on the birthday is a wonderful deed. How did she get this knowledge? From society. Maybe she saw her father bringing flowers to her mother and her mother very happy. She saw a lot of Hollywood movies where man was bringing flowers for the birthday, and if he didn't bring flowers, my God, the poor guy. Okay, and things like this. So she got the knowledge that to bring flowers on a birthday is a very good deed, and then every time she will receive flowers on the birthday, she will be very happy, and then because she is very happy, the decision what to do is to stay with this person and maybe even to marry him. On the other hand, the other person, maybe she has different kind of knowledge. Maybe she was taught in her family that it's not good to pick flowers because flowers are living things, and why to kill a living thing? And I don't know, other stuff. Maybe she was traumatized by a guy that brought her flowers because he was cheating on her. So when she see a man giving her now flowers, she contracts and she feel immediately anger and sadness. And then according to what she feels, she decides to break up with this guy. Because she says, okay, this guy is an asshole. Why is he bringing me flowers? But the guy, what was he trying to do? He was only trying to do something that according to what he was taught was okay on a birthday. He was taught that to give a flower on the birthday is a good thing to do. So he brought the flowers. And so, if these women, they act according to what they feel, they actually act according to the past knowledge that they have. And this past knowledge, did they choose it? Are they even aware that this knowledge exists in their system? They don't know it. They just know that they are happy or sad. But they think that they are happy because the guy brought flowers, or they are sad because the guy brought flowers, but they are not happy or sad because the guy brought flowers. They are happy or sad because the knowledge they have about what it means to bring flowers on a birthday. Do you understand? And then if we take decisions according to what we feel, we take decision according to the past, and we take decision about something that we didn't choose. And something that we didn't choose is not freedom. Something that we didn't choose is part of our slavery to society, to our family, to all the knowledge that they have put inside us. So what the yoga will teach these women, they tell them, feel what you feel. If you're happy, be happy. If you are sad with the flowers, be sad with the flowers. But if you want to decide if to continue with this guy or not, what do you have to look at?
Not the flowers.
Very good. And not what you feel. Yeah. Look at the guy. Look at the situation. Look at your goal with this guy. What do you want with him? What do you want? And then decide if to stay with this guy or not. But not according to what you feel. How many times in your life did you decide things according to what you feel? And you thought that it was because the person, that the person made you angry, so you stopped talking to him. But if you understand this example, you understand it's not the person that made you angry. It's the knowledge that you had about what the person did that made you angry. Because if you were another person with another knowledge, maybe with the same thing that the person is saying, you will not at all become angry. Maybe you will become happy. You understand how crazy it is? But we completely think that what we feel is saying about the present, about the situation, or about the people, but it has no connection. I will give another example. Think of a young boy, 5 years old, going to the beach with his father. On one occasion, he goes to the beach with his father, and it was a wonderful day in the beach. And they had a lot of fun, and they returned home. But on another occasion of the same guy, another situation, he went 5 years old, he went with his father to the beach. His father drowned and died. Okay? Now, 20 years later, this child is now 25. And now somebody comes to him and invite him to come to the beach. What will happen? On one occasion, this person will say, okay, of course, let's go to the beach. On another, the other option is that this guy will say, no, I don't like the beach, I don't go to the beach. Okay? But who of them is right? To go to the beach or not to go to the beach? Both of them are deciding according to their past experience when they were 5 years old. And how many of them we have in our system that we decided that because we had unpleasant experience one time we decided that we don't like this place, or we don't like this person, and then every time they will invite us to go to this place, we will say no. And why do we say no? Because when they invite us, when they say, let's go to the beach, if our father died in the beach, what we will feel is contraction. And from contraction, we immediately try to avoid, like we saw in the clashes, and then we will never go to the beach again, only because we had this past experience. Or we will always want to go to the beach if we had a nice experience. But what the yoga will teach this person, she will tell him, it is unavoidable that you will contract every time they offer you to go to the beach if your father died when you were 5 years old. But it doesn't mean now that you can never go to the beach. You can decide according to the situation. So what is according to the situation? Depends who is inviting you to the beach. Maybe they are friends. Maybe you have a free day. Maybe it's a nice summer day. Maybe you can go to the beach. But in another situation, maybe it's a person you don't trust so much. Maybe you have an exam and you need to study. Maybe the weather is not so nice, then you can say no. But already you are flexible. It's not always you say no or always you say yes. You work according to the situation. Do you understand the idea? Any questions?
And
yes.
I have to say, it's my own experience. On the same example, I go to a beach. I so-called have to be happy there because of society and etc. Therefore, the expectation that the going to the beach must be happy is a failure as well.
Yeah, as well. Okay, and then if we work according to the situation and we can feel everything, we can be in the beach and be unhappy, we can be in the beach and be happy, and it's okay, and then we can decide every moment what to do. But when we decide according to what we feel, we are not connected to the present, we are connected to the past, and the past we didn't choose. How many experiences there? Leftovers of, experiences and imprints in our system that we didn't choose, and we let them decide our present. Another good example, an important one. Imagine a woman was raped in a parking lot. And then every time, maybe it was 10 years ago, but today every time she comes near a parking lot, what is she going to feel? Contraction. Immediately contraction. And because she feels contraction, what is she going to do? To avoid parking lots for the rest of her life. Now, psychology or Western, methods of therapy, they will try to make this woman stop to contract when she reaches a parking lot, to work with the trauma so she will not feel so upset and all the memories will not come up when she reaches a parking lot, to stop the contraction. But the yoga will say differently. The yoga will say, know that you will forever you will contract every time you see a parking lot. This we cannot change, and this is not a problem to feel, because all feelings are temporary and they are different than you, and you can feel them. But if to park in a parking lot or not, choose according to the situation. If it is the middle of the day and a very busy parking lot and there is a lot of people and women and babies, then okay, you can park. But if it's the middle of the night, deserted parking lot, nobody around, even I will not park there. Okay, so now it's according to the situation, and this woman is finally free to feel the contraction and finally free to choose the useful action. One time she will park and another time she will not park. But this is already freedom, and then there was no need to heal the trauma or solve something from the past. It can be present in the form of the feeling, but it doesn't influence our future anymore. So we are free from all these things that we haven't choose, or all our experience that we didn't choose. You understand? Nice, isn't it? So, for me, this is, when I understood this, it was a very big transformation in my life, because finally I was able to feel everything. For example, with my family or with my partner, or when I teach, I can feel everything. But in every given moment, I act according to what I find useful for the situation. And then Even, for example, we see it a lot in family things. You know, we go for a family dinner, but then the mother, she tries, she starts to say her usual stuff, and we start to contract, and we start to be angry, and we start to, make a mess. But if we are able to feel this contraction and to be angry with our mother, but able to remember what was the purpose of our being there in the family dinner. What was the purpose? To be together. Then what will be the useful action? Will it be to scream at my mother? Or will it be to ask her how she is and tell stories? And then, if we are able to do the useful action, we will see the situation developing according to its purpose. It was supposed to be a nice family dinner. It is going to be a nice family dinner. But if I immediately act according to what I feel, instead of having a nice family dinner, we're going to have a nice family fight. And how many people, they are like this, and again they try to change there, but they cannot, because they try to change what they feel. And the yoga tells you, don't change what you feel, change how you act. And for me, this understanding that it is our actions in the present that create our future, nothing else. It is in every moment my action will create my future. When I understand this, I take full responsibility on my actions. In every moment I want to be aware, I want to try to choose it, or to choose it as best as I can. Of course, it's a matter of practice. Sometimes I know already what is the useful action, but maybe still I cannot yet do it because I don't yet have full control over my actions. But the more we practice, the better we will have. And then I take full responsibility of my actions because I want to create my future. And I am completely free from the past, although it is completely there in the form of the freedom to feel everything. But we are not responsible, or we take full responsibility for our actions, but we are not responsible for our reactions. Reactions is what we feel. This we are not responsible of because this is the result of the past. So instead of taking responsibility on what you feel, know that this is unavoidable, that you can feel everything, but take full responsibility of the actions, and you will see your life going exactly the way the way you want them to go. Okay? Questions? Okay. So this is the Karma Yoga, the aware action, and only I will repeat this one thing because it is very important. During this process, what is needed is first to be aware of what we feel. I need to know that I am angry. And then I need to be able to shift my attention back to the situation and ask what is the purpose of the situation, and think what is the useful action to achieve the purpose. And then if I do this process, I will come up with the answer. It is useful to talk nicely. This is quite easy to do. The part of the action, to talk nicely, already needs another training. And then many times you will see that in easy situations, you are able to choose your actions. But in more difficult ones, especially with the family or with our partners, in things that there are a lot of already conditionings, very strong, there you will see that you knew that there is a better action, but you were not yet able to do it. But don't worry about it. Every time you try, you develop a little bit more the ability, and you will become more and more free to choose your actions. And the best thing about it is, even if you did the actions that you wanted to avoid, I didn't want to scream at my mother, but I ended up screaming, the next moment I can choose the useful action again. And then, now the situation is different. I have screamed at my mother now is upset. This is a situation. We are in a family dinner. What is the useful action now? I can ask. What will be the useful action? Now maybe...
Not to respond.
not to respond, but I have already screamed. Then go to her and apologize. You know, maybe this, to go and explain and tell her, Mother, listen, I didn't mean to scream at you, I'm sorry. Let's go back to the dinner. This can be the useful action, and then I have the new moment to try to do it. I didn't succeed again. After another moment, there will be another opportunity for another action, because the life is only a set of action, one after the other. So there is never mistake. Even if I did something horrible, the next moment I can think what will be the useful action to fix this mistake that I did. And so never, you don't need to be upset with yourself for not succeeding. Only remember the next moment is another moment where you can again choose the useful action, again practice your freedom. And then life becomes very easy. And you will see life going in the directions you want, the direction you want. You will see your relationships improving, because you can do more useful actions in them, and you don't have to scream at your partner every time he doesn't take the shoes off. Or you will see your projects going better, because even if, I don't know, somebody that you work with made you really upset, you don't have to come to him now and tell him, oh, you have to apologize. Because you can feel upset and still continue to communicate with this person. And like this, in all the fields of your life, you will see it also with yourself. This is also important to say. Let's say I want to practice every day 5 minutes of this one-pointed concentration. And then some days I will see that I'm maybe not yet able to do it. You know, I want to do it, I have it in my mind, but instead of sitting for the meditation, and I end up cleaning the whole house because it's easier. And then, no problem, the next minute I can choose the useful action, and then maybe I sit not at 9 o'clock, and I don't know, 7 o'clock in the morning, but at 9 o'clock. So every moment will be another moment where I can do the useful action, and eventually you will be able to see that you get the things done, that you are creating the future that you want by acting freely in the present. Questions? Okay, remember this. And try also this play with the thing of seeing your reactions, what you feel, and see how they are connected to the past and not to the present. And that if you had a different knowledge, then you will act completely different, or you will react completely different. Okay, so this is Karma Yoga. You will see that the more you act from this aware place, you start to develop the identity. I am the awareness. I am acting from an aware place. It will become your identity. And the mind stuff, all the emotions and thoughts and all of these ideas that we have, they will go to their proper place as being your city, being the thing where you live in, but not you. And then they will not be anymore the source of your suffering, and they will not be the source of your actions. You will be free to feel and think everything, but it will not bind you anymore, because you will know that you are different from them and that you can act freely. And remember what we talked about, that the freedom is to be only us, not connected to anything else. So not connected to the city, not connected to the thoughts and the emotions, although they are there. And this for me is also, I again repeat it because it's very important. Maybe we had the idea that we need to change what we think, and that we need to change what we feel, and we need to solve some things in the mind. According to yoga, we need not solve anything that goes on in the mind. We can think the most ridiculous thoughts or the most horrible thoughts, or we can feel everything. Only we need to put it in the proper place, as being our city, not us, as being the result of our past, not something that binds us in the present. And then you will feel the freedom of to be, because today, if you check, you will see that so many times you are fighting with your mind. You want to be less judgmental, less, more secure, more this, less this. All the time we try to change something that is not us, because all these thoughts and emotions and conditionings, they are not us. So why do we need to change them? So finally you will be free to think and to feel everything, and you can be critical for the rest of your life. But your actions will not be based upon this criticism that comes in your mind. And then what power does it have over you? And why do you need to be less judgmental or less critic? You understand? You will be free to feel everything, but and free to act according to what is useful. And this is the proper relationship between us and our mind. Until now we try to shape the mind. We don't need to shape it. We need to use it. But it can hold everything, or it can show us everything that is in there. It is only leftovers, or it only tells the story of our life, of our past. Questions? Okay. So this is the Karma Yoga. And then the more we act in this aware way, we understand, we develop the identity that we are this awareness, that we are constant, that we are unchanging. If we understand that we are not changing, we understand that we cannot gain or lose anything in this life. We also understand that we are free because we finally realized our true nature as being separated from all the rest. So we have gained, we can say, our freedom, but it was not gaining it from outside. We have discovered our freedom. We have discovered that we are always free. And if we have gained, or if we have reached what we wanted, then we have no more desires. We need no more knowledge. We need no more something external to give us the freedom. We do not depend anymore of how many vacations we have, or how people talk to us, or if we are appreciated or not, because we have gained, we have earned ourselves, or we have realized ourselves, and the freedom that there is in this place. And later we are going to do another short practice to realize what there is inside us in our true nature. But since we are now completely fulfilled, we have gained, we have earned everything that we wanted. There are no more desires. There are no more aversions, because nothing can, we don't need to reject anything. But we can still feel desire and aversion, but it will be in the mind, not in us. We are completely satisfied. This will be the state of our living. We will have this inner satisfaction, and I'm not talking about the passive satisfaction, not the temporary one, but like this inner bliss. The yoga calls it Sat Chit Ananda. It means we will have our existence, our awareness, and our bliss that does not depend on external things or on things of the mind. So we will be completely like self-sufficient, we can say, completely well positioned inside ourselves. And then our relationship with the world will change, because today our relationship with the world is that we all the time look for reality or the world to give us something, to give us some nice experiences, to give us confidence, to give us stability, to give us, I don't know, whatever people are looking for from the outside or from the mind, to whatever. So we are all the time looking for something from the outside. But the moment we are already completely satisfied, we are no longer looking for anything. And then, if until now all our actions were based on getting something from life, I wanted a cup of coffee, I wanted this, I wanted this, and now there is no longer the desire or the aversion, they do not lead my actions anymore. Why am I going to act in life? If I am completely satisfied, then I can sit under the tree all day and do nothing. So what is going to be the motivation of our actions? What can it be?
Others.
Others? What do you mean?
Serve.
To help the life to flow further.
Okay, and why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because there is, for example, if I have understood this, then this is more or less exactly the same situation for others, and I try to create circumstances that they would experience or reach to the same Kaivalya, not my Kaivalya, but them.
Okay.
To support life or nourish life.
Okay, very good. So, by realizing who we are and being completely satisfied, we also realize what the city is. And we realize that the city, and now I'm talking about the mind and the body, but also the outer world, is there only for one purpose. It is there only to serve the one that lives in the city. And since I still have a city, as long as I am alive, I still have a city, and I live inside this outer city also, I say there is no point to use the city differently than for the purpose it was made of. And why? Because only by fulfilling the purpose of the city will I be completely free of the city. And I talked about it yesterday a little bit, like hunger. Only if I feed myself will the hunger go away. I can fight the hunger in many ways, but the hunger is there to make me eat. And if I ate, there will be no more, the hunger fulfill the purpose, there will be no more reason for hunger, and then the hunger will disappear. Again, if we go to the beginning, we think about all this city, all this prakriti that was made up, that came into being only to serve this Purusha, to be useful for this journey towards Kaivalya. When it is useful, when it is serving its purpose as being useful, then it can cease to exist. And only when it ceases to exist, then all this structure that was covering us, remember our body, the senses, the mind, our identification, and our aware existence, all of this will not be needed anymore. And the yoga tells us when this is not needed anymore, then it's like collapses back to its potential. It's not needed anymore, like hunger. Where does the hunger go? Back to its potential form. There is still the potential for another hunger in the future. When it's going to come? When another hunger is going to come? When I'm going to feel hungry again? When I need to eat. When there will be a new need for eating. But as long as I don't need to eat, hunger will not come. Okay? So the feeling of hunger. So, the hunger, after it served its purpose, it's like returning to its potential form, and it will stay unmanifested, or it will stay in a potential form until there will be a need again, and then hunger will show up again. The same story about this. If it was useful, if it fulfilled its purpose of being useful, then there will not be the need for it anymore. And then it's like collapsing back to its potential form. And then the yoga says, then there is the complete separation. Because we said in this human form, it's like we are connected. The Purusha and the Prakriti, the Purusha inside the Prakriti. As long as we are like this, it's like we have a form of Kaivalya, but not complete one. But after this has served its purpose, then it will stop to exist, and then the Purusha will be completely alone, completely pure. And this is like the highest Kaivalya. But for most of us, we still like this life. We don't want to, to stop living, and maybe we also want to get another life because we like it. So no problem. Still, if we understand the purpose of the city as to serve, as to be useful, we will start to do useful actions. And what are useful actions? Useful actions are actions, like was said here, that support life or support life. And then I have to look at life to understand what are the useful actions. So, for example, if I have a body, and we have a body, there are some useful actions we can do with the body, and there are some unuseful actions we can do. What are useful actions to do with the body?
Keep it healthy.
Very good. To give it the conditions for health. So, for example, our body needs movements. All the joints need movements. The muscles need flexibility and strength. If I give these conditions to my body, then I'm being useful. I'm doing actions that are useful for the body, so I'm fulfilling the purpose of the city. What else does the body need? Very good. It needs nourishment. Okay? It needs to be well taken care of. So if I give good nourishment, I am being useful for this system. And then if I keep it clean or give it the conditions it needs, I am supporting the life of the body. But we're not only body, we're also mind. And then the mind also needs some conditions. And then we give the mind also the conditions it needs. For example, what does it need?
To love the body.
To love the body? The mind? Okay, good. What else?
To be clean.
Huh?
Mind needs to be clean.
Clean.
Balance.
Balance, clear, very good. And controlled. Okay, very good. It needs to be fed also. What do we feed the mind with?
With some joy and some fun.
Everything that comes from the senses. And then we need to see that we feed our mind with things that are useful for it. For example, if I feed my mind with violence, with playing violent computer games all the day, I'm not feeding the mind with something that is useful for him. But if I feed the mind with some, with nature or inspiring texts and things like this, I will see the mind growing better. So like this, we start to act in life to serve this system, not to think what we gain from it, because we already know that as Purusha, unchanging, we don't gain nothing. So it doesn't matter if we want to do it or not do it, but we do it because we understand that our purpose is to be useful. And then not only useful for this city, but also to the city around us. And then we want to be useful in our relationships, to see that we are acting there in a useful way. Not, for example, I see many people, I don't know how it is here, but in Israel at least, relationships are where the people put all their shit on their partner. The horrible stuff. But this is not to be useful in the relationship. In the relationship, it is more useful to allow my partner to grow, to support him, to give him also the conditions he needs to fulfill his potential, or to support his city. So I will see that I am useful in my relationship, that I am serving the relationship, that I am serving society, that I am serving the elements, not to poison the water, not to poison the earth, not to poison the air, or to keep them clean, to take care of the plants. There is a lot of things that we can do to be useful in this life. And then we only serve life, not thinking what we get out of it. Not thinking, okay, who is going to pay me for cleaning the path? How many times we went for a walk, maybe not here, but in Israel, and there was, some plastic bags on the way. And then when we are in this bhakti yoga, in this last one here, the bhakti yoga, we will pick up the plastic bags. Why? Not because we were told to do it, not because we gain something out of it, only because it is serving, it is useful. So we start to be so mindful about how we act in the life, how we are useful in the life, and the more we are useful, the more we fulfill our purpose. And if we look at all life, if we look at all the things around us, we will see that all the things are meant to be useful. For example, this bottle is serving some purpose to be useful, and the phone is serving a purpose, and the board, and the house and the yoga mats and the plants and the tree is useful. All the things around us are only created to be useful, each one in its own way. So when we are being useful, when we are in the Bhakti Yoga and we are being useful, we are one with life. We are working with life, and this is very important, interesting to see. When a person feels that he is not useful, that he is not needed, what happens to him? Did you meet people like this? Yeah, it will be depression, and then like going away from life. And we can see it also here. If there is something that is not useful here, what are we going to do with it? We're going to put it in the garbage. We're going to put it away. So what brings us into this life is the need, is our need to be useful, or the thing to be useful. And what takes us away from life is when we are not useful. And this is why many people, when they retire, they feel that they are not needed anymore and they go into depression. Or many women, I see it in Israel, when the children leave the house and they are not needed anymore as mothers, they go into depression. But when will they come out of it? When will they will find another way in how to be useful. For example, if they get grandchildren. So it is the need to be useful that supports our life, and the more we do it, we will be one with life, and it will feel as if there is like a big stream of life flowing behind us, that we are part of this big stream, and that it's not our energy that we are spending, that we are with the energy of life. Do you know this feeling? It's like everything is working with you. But when you are not being useful, then you feel that you are fighting everything, that everything is against you. So this Bhakti Yoga is only, for me, it's like to join the stream of life. And instead of continuing to be selfish and only asking what is there for me, I ask, how can I be useful in every situation? And it gives a lot of meaning in everything, in every social interaction, on the road. You stand in traffic, not that you have traffic here, but imagine. And then you can say, okay, how can I be useful in this very unuseful situation? Because to stand in traffic is horrible, but still, how can I be useful now? And you will see that every moment will get a meaning, even if it is a very boring moment, even if it's a moment that you really didn't want to experience. I don't know, like being in the hospital because you were injured or somebody was injured. If you ask there how I can be useful and concentrate on that, immediately you will see that life is with you. But if you are just, I don't know, in the hospital, busy, feeling sorry for yourself or for the other person, then you will see the suffering that is there and how much you are fighting with everything. So this little secret of Bhakti Yoga, of being useful for the life, just asking, how can I be useful? And you will see the freedom of that you gain when you are useful for life. Because you stop depending on results. And we know this, the slave, how much we are slaves for results. Because when we do something immediately, we think what we are going to get out of it, and if it's going to succeed or not going to succeed, and we are not free there. But if we only concentrate on being useful and not what we get back, then you will see this freedom from result. How much freedom is there? There is no other word for that. How much bliss is there? And then we fulfill the purpose of life, and then maybe we will not be needed again, because we have completed our journey. We have understood who we are. We have been useful, a useful city, and then according to yoga, we will not get another life, but we might get another life. Even if we have completed our journey, only to be more useful. For example, what the yoga calls bodhisattva is these purushas that have completed their own journey, but then they come back to the life to instruct others on the journey. So, for example, the Dalai Lama, you know him. He is one of these bodhisattvas. He comes, he is already liberated Purusha. He is a free person completely. But he comes again and again to this life to instruct others in this path. So this is and he really, what I heard, I don't know him personally, he practices the afterlife and where to be born again, so he can continue to be useful, that he can continue doing this, bringing the knowledge again and again to where it is necessary. Any questions? No? Okay. So, we have understood that Bhakti Yoga is to fulfill the purpose, to be useful, not to think about what we gain, but it's not because I ignore it. It's because it already doesn't exist in me, because I know I am this conscious element. And now we reach Kaivalya. So here we can talk a little bit of what is there in Kaivalya, how Kaivalya will look in this life, and how Kaivalya is in the not in this life is not so interesting. But before that, we can do a little practice. We will try. Maybe it's a little bit early because we have not practiced a lot, but we will try to stay in this conscious element, in this conscious part of us, and to check a little bit what is there, to understand what is this idea of freedom of Kaivalya. Okay, so maybe it will be difficult for you to hold this consciousness or awareness for a long time, that is needed to investigate what is there, but we will try and we will see what we can do, okay? So, but if you don't succeed, it's okay. It's only because we have not practiced much. So, please sit in a comfortable way or lie down as you wish. See that your body and your breath are relaxed and ready. And when you feel ready, turn your attention to the sense of hearing. Become aware of sounds. See that you can notice the different sounds, and you are the one that is aware of the sounds. And now check, are the sounds inside you? Or are the sound an external object you are aware of? Are the sounds inside you, inside the awareness? Or are the sound an external object you are aware of? And see that the sounds are external to you. They are external object you are aware of. And you, who is aware of the sounds, you are empty from sounds. The sounds are external. They are not inside you. You are empty of them. And you stay empty, doesn't matter what sound will come. All sounds, even the most horrible ones, will always be external to you. you will always be empty of sounds. Try to see this. And then release attention from the sounds. And we will go straight to thoughts. And then start to create different thoughts. You can say, oh, what a perfect weather. What is for lunch? Why no potatoes? All of this. Okay, so you create different thoughts and check again. Are the thoughts inside of you who is aware of the thoughts? Or are the thoughts external objects you are aware of? Just continue creating thoughts and checking. Are they inside of you who is aware, or are they external objects you are aware of? And see that all thoughts are external objects you are aware of, but you who is aware, you are empty of thoughts. The thoughts are not inside the awareness. They are external objects you can be aware of. But you yourself, you are empty of thoughts. See it. And now check, can there be the most horrible thought that will be inside of you, inside the awareness? And see, you can bring the most horrible thought, like, I don't know, I want to murder everybody. And see that even the most horrible thoughts, they will be external objects, and you will always stay empty of all thoughts. And then release your attention from the thoughts. Take a deep breath for a moment. And now let's try to do it concerning emotions. Don't just bring different emotions or just one emotion. Or feelings. And see that you become aware of the emotions or the feelings. And check, are the emotions inside the awareness, inside of you? Or are the emotions external objects you are aware of? Are you the emotions, or are you the one observing the emotions, the feelings? and see that all emotions are objects that you are aware of. But you who is aware, you yourself, you are empty of emotions. Emotions are external to you. They are external objects you are aware of. But yourself, you are empty of emotions. And now think of the most difficult emotions and feelings. The biggest suffering you can experience. The biggest loss or sorrow. Regret. Bring them or think about them and check. Are they inside you or are they external objects you are aware of? Even the biggest suffering. And you can see that even the feeling of the biggest suffering will be an external object you are aware of. But you yourself, you are empty of suffering. The suffering is not inside you. It is a feeling of suffering you can be aware of. But you yourself, you are empty of suffering, empty of all feelings and emotions. And now release your attention from the emotions. And try just to hold this place that is aware. So if you need, you can become aware of sounds again. And instead of focusing on the sounds, focusing on the one, on yourself, or hold the awareness to the sounds. Try to hold only the awareness, this thing that is empty of sound, empty of thoughts, empty of emotions. If something comes up, some emotion, some discomfort, some confusion, check if this is an object you are perceiving, you are aware of, and if it is an object you are aware of, it means it is external. Don't hold it. Go back to holding only the awareness. Just being aware. And if you're able to do it, you can, every time if it goes away, just find it again. Check. So what is there? In this place of awareness, in us, in who we are, what is there? If all things are external objects, if our joys and our sufferings are external objects, if our memories and thoughts and ideas are external objects, if the feeling of our body and all our sense perceptions are external objects, what is there in this place of awareness? When we try to hold only that, what is there? What do you discover? And try to stay there for a few moments, investigating this place. If something comes up, check if you are aware of it, it is an external object, let it go. Return back to only awareness. What is there? Can there be any restriction there? The feeling of restriction? Check. And you will see that restriction will be an external object. Can there be the feeling of being slaved or bound? Can be there? And see that this also will be external object. Bring all the things that you think that limit your freedom and check if they are there in this place of awareness. The rules of society, your conditionings, your character. Bring all of them and check if they are external objects or are there in this place of awareness. Your personal struggles with yourself, your doubts. Whatever you deal with, whatever you feel is your prison there in this place of awareness. And see that doesn't matter how big is your prison, it will always be an external object. And you yourself, you will always be empty of this prison. Check, you will see. So what can chain you? Who can bind you? Whatever they do, or you do to yourself, can you influence this empty place, this place of awareness? And see that all chains, all whatever you put on yourself will always be external. This place that is aware, you who is aware, cannot be chained, cannot be slaved, cannot be transformed. What is there? This is Kaivalya. Slowly release your attention and deepen the breath. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. Okay, I see everybody died. Or everybody's in Kaivalya, let's see. So when you check if the things are inside you or external to you, what did you discover? Were you able to see?
Was a difficult thing to feel internal. Because it's so like you can feel it in your heart, you can feel it in your stomach. It doesn't feel internal.
External. You mean?
External.
Yeah. But you still, can you see that you are the one that is looking at them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And by that you can understand. Then if I am looking at them, it means they are external to me.
Right
If
now
I
there is no emotions. I know that. Not something that is in you.
Good. Any others? Okay. Were you able to see that this place of awareness is actually empty of all objects, whether they are sounds or thoughts or emotions? Were you able to see it a little bit? Yeah? So what is there in this empty place, in this awareness? What is there?
There is observer.
Observer. Okay, very good. What else? Everything that I bring, will it be there? Anything that I bring?
Just empty.
Very
It's
good.
just like being there. it doesn't matter whether I'm there for a moment or for an hour. It is like when you jump into water, it doesn't matter whether you swim there for an hour or you just jump in and go out. You're always wet the same way. And it is like being there. It doesn't matter whether I'm only there for one breath or for 1 minute. It's always the same energy which is there afterwards.
And you saw this empty, that it's only empty.
Yeah, it's just
very good.
It's just ease.
It
is
very
not,
good. It's just ease.
It's
Very
not,
good.
It's not for a word or so.
Of course, no words can describe it. You wanted to say something?
There is a choice of freedom in emptiness.
Have you seen this freedom? And what about the prison? Where is it going to be? All the things that we think that imprison us, and we bring them, and we check if they are external or they are in us. What do we discover? All of them are external. Have you seen? Nothing can restrict this place. Even I take the biggest prison and I put it there, can I restrict this place? Still it is going to be something external to it. This is our Kaivalya, when we understand that nothing can restrict this empty place, nothing can fill it up, nothing can change it, nothing can transform it, nothing can touch it. Everything is external to this. And when we understand this place and that is there all the time, and it doesn't matter how long we realize it, how long we stay there, then we realize that actually we are free all the time. Even if in the mind I have the idea that I am not free, where is this idea? It is again external. It is not there. It didn't restrict me. It is only now an idea of the mind. And this is the idea of Kaivalya, is to understand this nature of us that is always empty, always free, like space. Simple example. If I try to put this in space, can I damage space? Can I do something for the space? It's not going to hold it. What can hold the bottle is only something of the same nature. This is temporary, the earth is temporary. If I try to color the space, I take paint and I put color on the space, can I paint it? No, it doesn't hold it. Why? Because the space cannot be transformed. But I can put color on the bottle because this can be transformed. So the same, this place of us, we cannot be transformed, we cannot be collecting things, even if you feel the most, that life is draining you, that you are collapsing under this, stress of life. Where is this stress collecting? Is it collecting on you, accumulating on you? No. It accumulates on the mind, on the body, but not on us. So then we realize we are always empty, we are always unchanging, nothing is happening to us. And then everything is happening in the city, yes. But in the city we can act. And in the city we can, if we have a lot of stress, then we can distress. No problem. But it's not on us. And then life becomes very easy, because everything can happen in the life, and in every moment we can act in a useful way, but we stay free, we stay empty. This is the idea of Kaivalya. Questions? Remarks? Okay, wonderful. So, to make this not only theoretical knowledge, we need to practice. So what I advise you to do is to start with the simple practice of 5 minutes of one-pointed concentration, to start to tame your mind, to tame your horse. You will see how useful it is for your life. And after you feel that you have gained some control, you can also listen to these recordings if you need, or go back to what you have written and do the next practice of sitting with the sounds and seeing that you are the observer and the sounds are changing. and do the same with feelings of the body, and then do the same with thoughts, and then slowly do it also with emotions. Every day, to get a little bit more familiar with it. Every time you do it, you will discover the same thing. You are the observer, everything is changing. Then bring it into your daily life. Start to see this. For example, suddenly you feel yourself very happy. Notice it and say, oh, now I'm very happy. But before I was upset. And before that I was tired, and now I'm awake. And start to see these changes of the city, how it's all the time changing. And it will become more and more real. And then start to practice the action in the daily life. Start to see what you feel. Remember that it belongs to the past. And then say, okay, then what is the purpose of the situation? How I can be useful in this? And try to do the useful action and practice this. The more you practice it, you will become more and more aware. It will become your identity. The more it becomes your identity, eventually it will be your constant state. Not because you're holding it, because you know it. And the mind can still feel many things. The mind doesn't need to feel freedom. You are not looking for the feeling of freedom. You will know you are always free, and then the mind will be free to feel everything, to think everything, to react in any way it wants. But your actions will be useful actions in the present, so you will be able to act freely in the world and choose or create your future, and then everything will be okay. So if there are no more questions or remarks, I think this is enough for this seminar. Okay, anything? So let us finish with a thank you. Oh, maybe just one example, just before that. Because yesterday I gave this example of the sun and the clouds. And it's an interesting image. From this point of view, when we look at the sun, it can be obstructed or by clouds sometimes, covered by clouds. But when we realize that we are the sun, what are the clouds? They are never something that can obstruct us or cover us. Do you understand? From this point of view, the sun can be covered. But from the sun point of view, it is never covered. It only sees the clouds like objects. So this is what is happening in this process. In the beginning, we are looking at this awareness from the point of view of the mind, and it seems that it is covered. But when we become the awareness, we understand that nothing covers us. Only sometimes there are some objects appearing, like thoughts, feelings, and all of this. So I like this image of the sun and from which direction we are looking. Okay? Now we can finish with a thank you. So just close your eyes for a moment. You can bring your palms together. And we can say thank you for the place and for the pleasure of being here, for the food, for the company, for ourselves, bringing ourselves here, for the teaching, for the practices. And may the result of all that we have done here be for the benefit of all creation. May all creation reach Kaivalya. Thank you.